focusing one match at a time, I think we'll get to where we eventually want to get to.
Great, sounds good. For Coach Paulaleo, I'm Jill Winters. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Jill. Well, the Fall Classic started last night, and boy, were there some great performances. The matchup pits the defending champs, the Philadelphia Phillies, versus the most storied franchise in all of sports, the New York Yankees. And at what better than the new Yankee Stadium? The Yanks brought their workhorse pitcher, CC Sabathia, to the mound to face Phillies ace Cliff Lee. Sabathia has been the guy for the Yankees this postseason, accumulating an impressive 1.2 ERA through 3 playoff starts. But if you think that's impressive, check out Cliff Lee, who's at a .7 ERA through the Phillies' playoff run. Now, Cliff Lee was a gem in Game 1 as he outdueled Sabathia, throwing a complete game with no earned runs. He was helped out by his teammates Chase Utley, who picked up from where he left off in last year's World Series. Now, the second baseman hit solo home runs off of Sabathia in the 3rd and 6th inning, ruining an otherwise solid performance by Sabathia. Sabathia pitched 7 innings and only gave up 4 hits, but only 2 of them made the difference. Now, things got much worse for the Yanks when their bullpen gave up 4 runs in relief of Sabathia. Like the rest of the Yankee lineup, Alex Rodriguez was baffled by Cliff Lee's stuff, going 0-4 with 3 strikeouts. Game 2 just ended minutes ago, and the Yankees won 3-1. A.J. Burnett went 7 innings, and Marino Rivera came in for the relief for the 6-out save. Game 3 in Philadelphia is scheduled for Saturday at 5 p.m.
All right, now we're going to head back up to campus where our Jen Hollenbach is going to ask students at the Cub their World Series predictions.
The 2009 World Series matchup pits the defending champs Philadelphia Phillies against the New York Yankees. Who do you think has the best chances of winning?
Probably the Yankees.
Why do you think the Yankees?
I don't know. They have a lot of big names. You know, they've been on a pretty good roll lately. I don't know. I haven't watched it too much, but kind of everyone seems to be going for the Yankees if they don't hate them. So.
Obviously, I'm going for the Phillies, and there's 2 words I have to say: Ryan Howard. He gets too many RBIs, too many home runs for anybody to compete. Ryan Howard, hands down. That's all I have to say. Ryan Howard.
I like the Yankees this year. I think A-Rod is playing better than he has in the past, and I think they just got a good team this year.
Well, New York obviously has, I think, kind of a lead because they have kind of superstar, all-star players playing, like, you know, Rodriguez and Jeter. But I think that the Phillies are going to give them a run for their money, and I think New York should watch out because the underdogs always end up, you know, pulling this upset. So.
I'm going to have to go with Yankees.
Any reason why?
No, they're just good.
Now let's toss it over to our host, Nero 3, for our weekly edition of Face Off.
I'm Nero 3, and welcome to this week's edition of Face Off. Riding with me tonight is defending champion Jeff McNish and his challenger, BRENNA REESE. This should be a good one, so let's do it. The NBA season is officially underway. We talked about old faces and new places. Now let's break down a division. Who's going to win the Northwest Division in the NBA this year? BRENNA, start with you.
All right, so Northwest Division, definitely one of the better divisions this year. We got the Blazers, the Jazz, and the Nuggets, all very capable of winning it. But I'd say go with the Blazers. I mean, last year tied for most wins with Denver. Denver got the tiebreaker. But they only lost Fry and Sergio Rodriguez this year and gained Andre Miller and Martell Webster's back from injury, and Greg Oden come back lighter, looking good. I mean, they're a young team, but this year they've really stepped it up, and I think I'd have to give them the division.
Well, that's pretty impressive. They've already stepped it up in their first game. But I really think it's Denver that is the stronger team in that division. You know, Brandon Roy has to take a much bigger step if he wants to carry a team to win a division. He's a good player, but he's not an NBA superstar. You look at the Nuggets, they have Carmelo Anthony. He's a top 5 player in the NBA now. He took it to the next level last year in the playoffs and proved that he's ready to play every night no matter what happens. Chauncey Billups, most underrated point guard maybe to ever play in the NBA. He has gone to the Eastern Conference, Western Conference Finals. Doesn't matter what conference he's in. He's taken teams to the finals. And also they have J.R. Smith. He's stepping into a starting role this year. He's explosive. He's going to make a lot of threes. He's going to make a lot of outstanding dunks. And they have a lot of role players to complement those 3 guys. I think the power of those 3 players will lead them to win the division.
Well, I mean, you say, oh, look, they have two superstars, Billups and Carmelo, but last year they tied with the Blazers with those two superstars. And, I mean, J.R. Smith, he's sort of a liability. He's had his issues with the law. He's just had his baggage. And, I mean, who knows how he's going to do. You got to look at that. And then I would say even Utah over Denver, they got Boozer, Williams. I mean, Denver, definitely it's going to be close, but I'd say Blazers really have the edge.
I'm going to have to give it to Jeff on this one. I think the Nuggets are a little more proven. So let's go on to our next topic. All right, we have a huge Pac-10 matchup this weekend that I'm personally pretty excited about. The number 5 USC Trojans travel to Eugene to take on the number 10 Oregon Ducks. Who's winning the Pac-10 title this season, guys? Again, I'm going to start with you, Brenna.
All right, so got to go to my home state, Oregon. Ducks, they have been playing lights out the last few games. I mean, up to Washington, no problem. And USC, although they are a very good team, the last 2 games they've given up 63 points compared to the first 5 weeks. They gave up only 43 points. Defense is kind of slacking. Ed Dixon, he's going to be an NFL tight end. He's fabulous. Mazzoli, quarterback, he's doing great. I think if the Ducks defense can hold off USC, the Ducks should win Autzen Stadium. I mean, they've got home field, so.
Ducks do have home field, and Autzen Stadium is one of the hardest places in all of college football to play. The USC has Matt Barkley. They haven't lost a game all season with him at quarterback. When he was out, they did lose to UW. But that was with 2 coordinators that were working for USC the previous year. So Barkley's the real key. He's got a passer rating of 148 this year. Lights out. He's unstoppable. No team stopped him yet. Oregon, they do have a good defense. Pass defense, not so much. Again, with Oregon, everything goes through the running game. They're running the ball like crazy. So they're really one-dimensional, I see it. So if USC can shut down the run, then they can beat them in that game. If they beat them in Autzen Stadium, then they're going to hold the tiebreaker, and I don't see any other team beating USC. You also have to consider USC's won the Pac-10 for the last 7 years in a row.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, but OSU played a really tough game against USC in Los Angeles last week. USC is going to be away from home, coming off a win, feeling good, coming to Autzen Stadium. They could just be surprised by the Ducks and get slammed. So.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to overlook the Ducks. I mean, especially being number 10 in the country. They're ready for this game. They know that they're one of the toughest teams to play, and they're going to come out playing for them. And Oregon still has to play the Civil War against Oregon State later this year, which is always a toss-up.
Got to go with Oregon on this one, take the underdog. I think they're a tough team to beat at home. So let's go on to the third topic. Twitter is taking over professional sports in this country, for that matter. With that being said, should tweeting be banned from professional sports? Brenna.
Well, I don't know if it should be banned, but I think that definitely teams should have a talk with their players, have an agreement in their contract, what is allowed to be said on the internet, what is not. And I think as far as the fans go, they're seeing their favorite players share personal things, they feel closer to them. Something that could be an alternative is fan blog sites where players can get information, or fans can get information on the players, where it's not coming directly from the players and it's being a little bit censored, so a player couldn't say something that could jeopardize their team.
Well, yeah, I love Twitter. I mean, it's great for the players because they don't have, an interviewer just trying to lead them or trying to bait them into things they don't want to say. It's their feelings, it's their emotions, and they're saying exactly how they feel, and it's the truth. And a lot of times when you see interviews, you know that they're just saying what's politically correct and what they're expected to say. So this is a different venue where you see more of the truth and how people really feel. But it is egotistical, really. I mean, a lot of players are getting on there and just love, seeing that people are following them and doing all this. So I think it hurts team chemistry in that aspect. A lot, instance like Larry Johnson tweeting out about his coach. Then you have players on the team that agree with him, players that don't, and you get a real divide in the locker room. And especially in football, team chemistry is horribly important. And, I think what they're doing, finding it, is good. But what I would really like to see is I think they need to take it to the next step and say, you can tweet all you want, just don't tweet about your job. This is your job. You're getting paid millions of dollars. Don't be tweeting about this.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to have to give the point to Jeff and the master Jeff. So that's all for us this week's edition of Face Off. Let's toss it back to Michelle and Dave in the studio.
Thanks, Neal. Well, that's all we've got for you on this edition of Inside the Lines.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm David Pete.
And I'm Michelle Ledka. See you next week.